because with this one as well, I feel like when I was doing this, the quality time or kvalitetag, the difference from the first one was that this had a story element to it. Like the first one was just all the jokes I had written, and I think that's for most stand-ups is the first special they have. It's just all the jokes they have at that point. They'll put them in some sort of order and then do a show, right? But with quality time, I wanted to do more of a story, and it is a story, but I was sort of sad that I couldn't use some of the bits I had used in the first one because they were part of that story in a way, and I've just taken them out, but now I can actually put them in and sort of make it the story it always sort of was meant to be.
Okay. Yeah, the other day I was talking to my mate Ray, who's Estonian, and he's lived in Australia for ages, so he's pretty international. And he's like, "Yeah, I think I want to do the stand-up, Louis. I got some stories I want to tell. How do the stories work?" And I sort of tried to explain it to him that when you kind of start with stand-up, you don't start with stories. Because a story, you need to not only have jokes, but move a plot along.
Yes.
And that's a very common problem that a lot of new comedians have is they'll tell an anecdote. And you're like, well, Louis, what's the difference between a joke and an anecdote? An anecdote is a joke that has an extremely long setup. You got the blah, 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 and then this, and then I went to my mother's, and then I went over there. And then eventually there's some sort of laugh at the end. And that's what most people know as like kind of old stories or traditional things.
It's something good to have on a talk show, for example.
Yeah, sure, you want to do that. Like, just, things that you tell each other. Friends tell each other anecdotes,
Exactly.
I mean, if you're a stand-up comedian telling bits to your friends, they know it. There's too many laughs in this story. No, this is a bit that you've written.
You're testing this on me. They know.
And to break down... And what I think is comedians need to begin with jokes, which is the elemental, the atom, the bit that goes together, and that it's the joke at its core is set up punchline. And we create a story, a picture. Story is the wrong word. A picture in the listener's mind, and then we drastically change that with the next line. You basically don't give them a surprise.
Yeah.
And I advised Ray. I was like, look, stories are cool, bro, but try and start with jokes.
Yeah.
Just write jokes. Write a couple of jokes on the same topic, then you got a bit.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, if you have a story you have in mind, like, first you have to have the jokes, and then you say, okay, I have a joke about this topic. I have one joke about this topic, and I have a second joke about this topic. Now, how can I combine them? Okay, what can I put in the middle as well? Because usually if you have a bit about something... like one of the punchlines is going to be stronger than the others, right?
Sure.
And ideally you want to have that at the end because you want to finish the bit with the strongest laugh you get. So it's the way you then start thinking about positioning that, and that's something I had to work on a lot with this show as well, is that I have certain things I want to say, but I also need to get there somehow, and then you have to add the jokes and start thinking about that, and like, I've done this bit here, and you can sort of cannibalize your own material a bit, but then you have to discard some of the rest of that material because it's not going to be suitable, and you just don't want to fill it with filler material.